Welcome back to a special edition of Word Search. Um, we spend a frightening amount of our lives just letting music kind of wash over us.
Oh, for sure.
It's the sonic wallpaper at the grocery store, or it's the background noise in our headphones on the commute. But rarely do we stop the track and actually look at the architecture of the words themselves.
Right, the actual blueprint.
Exactly. So we're here to pull apart the lyrics and find the deeper meaning beneath the melody. I'm your host, and I tend to come at this from the spiritual side. I view these lyrics through a lens of faith.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking for the soul in the machine,
Mm-hmm.
the believer in the room.
And I'm the guy usually standing in the corner with a red pen and a clipboard, checking the structural integrity of that machine.
As always.
I'm fascinated by narrative arcs, emotional mechanics, and, well, how a songwriter builds a bridge between a specific subjective feeling and a universal truth. I'm looking at the craft.
And today we have a really special deep dive for you. We are looking at a song called Meet You at the Gates.
Yeah.
Now, I have to be honest, when I first printed out these lyrics and sat down with my coffee, I really had to take a moment.
It hits hard.
It does. On paper, this is incredibly heavy stuff.
It is heavy. I mean, if you look at the metadata, the genre tags, and the subject matter, this is technically an elegy.
Right.
It's a funeral song. It is a first-person account of the end of a biological life.
Yeah.
But, and this is where I think the songwriting gets incredibly clever, if you strip away that context and just look at the vocabulary choices, the tone is surprisingly buoyant.
Buoyant is a great word for it.
It doesn't read like a tragedy at all.
And that is the core tension we need to explore today. To me, this isn't a song about an ending. It's a song about a relocation.
Relocation.
Yeah, the narrator isn't fading to black. They're moving house.
I like that. Relocation is a really good way to frame it. So our mission today is to unpack that map, because the songwriter gives us a very specific set of instructions.
The literal roadmap.
Exactly. Not just for the person leaving, but perhaps more importantly for the people staying behind.
So let's open the map. We start in verse 1, which really functions as the retrospective.
A look back.
Right. The lyrics read, "All your grace and all your glory, all I have you done is for me." And then it says, "You're my beginning, you're my end, my first love, you're my best friend."
Right off the bat, we have to talk about authorship here.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there's a line immediately following what you just read. Every word on every page. You write the story of my days.
Yeah.
From a literary standpoint, this is a fascinating subversion of the memoir genre.
How so?
Well, usually when someone looks back on their life, the I is the hero.
Oh, sure. I did this. I conquered that.
Exactly. I built this company. I raised this family.
Yeah.
The self-made man narrative,
Which our culture absolutely loves.
we eat it up. But here, the I is just the character, and the you, the divine, is the author. The narrator is voluntarily ceding control of the narrative arc.
And that connects so deeply to the Christian concept of divine sovereignty.
Let's get into that.
It's this idea that our lives aren't just random chaos. There aren't a series of happy accidents or bad luck, but a narrative written by God.
Right.
And there's a massive psychological shift that happens when you truly believe that. It's a surrender, sure, but mostly it's a relief.
A relief, because I think most people would find that lack of control completely terrifying.
Well, I think it depends entirely on who you think is holding the pen.
Okay, fair point.
If you think it's random, cold fate, then yeah, that's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But if you believe, as the lyric says, "You're my best friend" is writing the story well, that takes the pressure off.
You don't have to force a happy ending.
Exactly. You trust the author to stick the landing for you.
That trust certainly changes the emotional baseline from anxiety to gratitude. And speaking of gratitude, there is a very specific theological distinction made in this first verse that I found really fascinating.
Which line?
I want to get your take on it. The lyric is, "I sought your face, found your mercy, I know I didn't deserve it."
Ah, yes, grace and mercy.
To the average listener, those are just synonyms, right? They're just church words for forgiveness. But you caught a distinction there, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely. In the faith, these are two sides of the same coin, but mechanically they operate very differently.
Break that down for us.
So mercy is not getting the punishment you do deserve.
Okay.
It's like the courtroom judge letting you go without a prison sentence even though you're guilty.
Right, dodging the bullet.
Yes. But grace. Grace is getting the blessing you don't deserve.
The bonus.
It's the judge not only waiving the sentence, but then paying your bail and taking you out to a steak dinner afterward.
Wow. And the lyric explicitly acknowledges that gap. I know I didn't deserve it.
That's pure humility.
And from a character building standpoint, that humility is essential. If the narrator came out swinging, saying, I was perfect, I earned my spot in the VIP section,
We would hate them.
we'd all tune out instantly. We'd roll our eyes at the arrogance. But by admitting a total lack of merit, by saying I didn't deserve it, it builds this incredibly sympathetic narrator.
We trust them more because they aren't claiming perfection.
Exactly. It sets the stage for the relationship. And then the songwriter pivots to this massive, sweeping imagery.
You're my beginning, you're my end.
Right.
That's Alpha and Omega language. That is borrowing titles straight from the Book of Revelation.
Alpha and Omega being the first and last letters of the Greek alphabet.
Correct. It means God encompasses all of time.
Yeah.
He is the starting line and the finish line. It's big, cosmic, creator of the universe stuff.
But then, and this is the crazy part, in the very next breath, the songwriter says, you're my best friend.
Yeah.
That juxtaposition is wild. You have the cosmic architect of space and time on one side, and a buddy you grab coffee with on the other.
It really is the central paradox of the Christian experience.
Yeah.
He's the beginning and the end of time, but he's also the one walking right beside you, holding your hand.
It grounds the divine.
It paints the deity, not just as a distant destination you're traveling toward, but as a constant travel companion.
And that sense of companionship creates the safety net for what comes next. Because the song takes a really sharp turn here.
It really does.
We move from looking back at life to looking forward at death. And this is where the songwriting gets incredibly clever with the chorus.
Now I lay me down to sleep.
We all know this. It's the classic nursery rhyme. It's probably the first prayer most kids in the English-speaking world ever learn.
I pray the Lord my soul to keep.
So why do you think the songwriter chose that? I mean, this is a fully grown adult facing the end of their life. Why regress to a child's bedtime prayer?
I think it's about comfort. When you're truly scared or when you're deeply vulnerable, you go back to the foundations.
You revert to base code.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't quote complex theology on your deathbed. You go back to what your mother taught you when you were 4. It strips away all the adult pretense.
That makes sense. I view it as a brilliantly effective psychological framing device. By using a bedtime prayer, the songwriter is reframing the terrifying concept of death with a capital D into the incredibly safe, mundane concept of a nap.
A nap.
Yeah. Now I lay me down to sleep. It subconsciously tells the listener, hey, don't be afraid, this is just like bedtime.
That is such a gentle way to handle it.
Yeah.
And it leads right into what might be the most powerful line in the whole song for me.
Let's hear it.
If I don't get to see you tomorrow, it's okay.
Man, that it's okay is doing a massive amount of heavy lifting.
It is immense.
Yeah.
Think about the anxiety most people have about death. The fear of missing out, the regret, the unfinished business.
The things left unsaid.
Right. We live in a culture that is utterly obsessed with one more day. Just give me one more day. So to be able to look at the end and say, if I don't wake up, it's okay, signifies a total, absolute peace.
It implies a complete lack of baggage. And
Yeah.
logically, you can only say it's okay if you genuinely believe the alternative to tomorrow is something fundamentally better.
And the songwriter tells us exactly what that alternative is. Standing in his presence.
There it is.
That's the comfort. It's not that they don't want to live. It's that they know exactly where they're going. The destination is better than the journey.
So let's talk about that destination, because in verse 2, we get a highly vivid description of where this relocation is actually headed.
We do.
We get lyrics like, enter his courts with thanksgiving and made a place in his father's house.
Those are direct biblical pull. Really strong ones. Entered his courts with thanksgiving is straight out of the Psalms.
It sounds like protocol.
It is protocol. It's how you approach a king, not with terror, cowering in fear, but with gratitude and joy.
In the father's house line.
That's Jesus in the Gospel of John. He famously told his disciples right before he died, in my Father's house are many rooms. I go to prepare a place for you.
So the songwriter is anchoring their personal, subjective experience in these ancient, established texts. It validates their hope.
It gives it a foundation.
But there's a moment of real, raw humanity in verse 2 that I appreciate immensely as a critic. It prevents the song from just floating away into spiritual abstraction.
Which line are you thinking of?
The line is, now I'm not saying I want to leave, but there's no place I'd rather be.
That tension is so real.
It perfectly captures the human paradox.
Yeah.
I mean, if the songwriter just said, I can't wait to die, get me out of here, they would sound like a stoic statue. Or worse, someone who has just completely given up on life.
Right. It wouldn't feel relatable.
Exactly. But saying, I'm not saying I want to leave, acknowledges the biological survival instinct. It acknowledges that they love their life, their family, their friends.
It acknowledges that leaving is hard.
Yeah.
Even if you're going somewhere amazing, saying goodbye to the people you love is still hard.
It validates the grief.
It does. It
Yeah.
validates the grief while still holding firmly onto the hope. It's like, imagine you're at a really great party,
Okay.
but you know you have to go home to see the person you love most in the entire world.
Yeah.
You're sad to leave the party because it's fun, but you're desperate to get home.
That's a highly useful analogy. And because of that tension, the narrator gives very specific instructions on how they want to be sent off.
Yeah.
Gently off into the night with a smile.
Which completely changes the role of the people standing at the bedside.
Precisely. Usually the people at the bedside are mourners. They are passive victims of the loss, just waiting for the terrible thing to happen.
Watching the monitor.
Right. But this lyric turns them into ushers. Send me gently. It gives them an active job. It empowers them to help facilitate the transition.
Which is such an incredible gift to give your family, to look at them and say, you don't have to fix this, just walk me to the door.
And that brings us to the bridge. Because if verse 1 was the retrospective and the chorus was the acceptance, the bridge is the outright instruction manual.
It really is.
The songwriter shifts from introspection to direct command.
Tell my family not to cry. That's a tall order.
It is a massive ask. But look at the verbs used in this section. Smile, celebrate, find a joy, seek.
Active verbs.
Highly active. The narrator is explicitly telling people how to grieve, or rather, how not to grieve.
Tell my kids this ain't goodbye. That is the very core of the Christian hope right there.
The reunion.
The reunion. If you believe this life is the end, then grief is just despair. It's a black hole. But if you believe this ain't goodbye, then grief is just, it's waiting.
It's transit time.
Exactly. It's just the time between visits.
And to help them with that waiting period, the songwriter offers a brilliant metaphor. I'll leave a light on in the sky till they arrive.
Oh, I love this part.
Let's dig into that. What do we make of this light? Is it a literal star?
Well, scripturally, there's a lot of light imagery. You know, Jesus is the light of the world, believers as lights on a hill.
Sure.
But in this context, it feels very intimate, very domestic. It feels like a porch light.
A porch light. I like that.
You know, when you're expecting someone to come home late, a teenager or a spouse working a late shift,
Yeah, you leave the light on.
you leave the light on so they know you're up, you're waiting, and they can find their way safely up the driveway in the dark. It's a signal that says, I'm here and I'm ready for you.
It also functions practically like a lighthouse or a beacon. It's guidance. Because the lyrics immediately follow up with, seek the Lord and don't forget to pray.
Pointing the way.
Right. The light isn't just a miss you sign in the window. It's a directional marker. It's saying, if you want to get to where I am, follow this path.
It's a practical advice for the spiritual life of those left behind. Keep your head up high. Don't look down at the dirt of the grave. Look up at the light.
And that brings us to the final titular image, the actual title of the song, really. I'll meet you at the gates.
The gates.
Why gates? Why not I'll meet you in the living room or I'll meet you in the clouds?
Well, a gate is a boundary, right? It separates the inside from the outside. But a gate is also an entrance.
The point of access.
Yes, it's the specific point of access. It implies that there is a definite, real place. Heaven isn't just floating around in the ether playing a harp.
Right, it's structured.
There is a city, there is a house, and there is a front door.
And strategically, it's a rendezvous point. Meet me at the gates. It's like saying, meet me under the clock tower at the train station at noon.
Yes.
It gives the person left behind a specific, concrete visualization of the reunion. It makes the abstract concept of the afterlife entirely tangible.
There's a line that repeats near the end that we definitely need to touch on, because it sounds really sad at first glance, but I actually don't think it is.
Which one?
When I'm nothing but a memory.
Yeah, that hit me hard initially. Nothing but a memory, it sounds like erasure. Like the person is gone and all that's left is a fading mental image.
But you have to put it in the context of the rest of the song. Think about where the narrator is at that point.
At the gates.
They are standing in his presence. They are singing with the angels. They are more alive, more fully themselves than they have ever been.
Okay, I see where you're going.
So on earth, to us, they are nothing but a memory. But in reality, the true reality, they are at the gates.
So becoming a memory here is actually a positive milestone because it means the transition is entirely complete. The earthly broken version is archived, so the heavenly perfected version can be active.
That's it exactly. And it's permission for the living to let go of the physical body. It's the narrator saying, it's okay if I'm just a memory to you right now because the real me is waiting for you up ahead.
You know, as we step back and look at the whole architecture of the song, from the grace in verse 1 to the nursery rhyme in the chorus to the direct instructions in the bridge, it becomes incredibly clear to me that this song isn't really for the person dying.
No, not at all.
It's a functional tool for the people left behind.
It's a permission slip.
A permission slip. Expand on that.
Yes, it's a permission slip to be happy, to smile and celebrate, like the bridge says.
Oh, I see.
Usually when someone we love dies, we feel immensely guilty if we smile. We feel guilty if we enjoy a beautiful sunset or if we laugh at a joke a week later.
We think we have to be miserable to honor their memory.
Right. If I'm not crying all the time, did I really love them?
Yeah.
That is the ultimate guilt trap of grief.
It's a heavy burden.
It is. But this song explicitly says no, celebrate, find joy. By writing these lyrics, the songwriter is preemptively absolving their loved ones of that guilt.
Wow.
They're saying, the best possible way to honor me is to live a joyful life until you get here.
That is a profound gift to leave someone. It entirely shifts the narrative of death from a tragic cutting off of potential to a completed story that merely sets the stage for the next sequel.
Until forever tucks me in.
For one last time.
It really is a beautiful roadmap for a peaceful exit.
And a roadmap for a peaceful continuation for those who have to stay. It seamlessly connects the dots between the sorrow of today and the hope of that tomorrow the lyrics talk about.
It reminds us that the silence of death isn't actually silent at all. It's just a pause. It's a deep breath before the reunion.
Before we wrap up today, I want to leave you, our listener, with a thought to mull over. We've spent this time talking about how the songwriter describes God as the one writing the story of their days.
Yes, the author.
If you had to look at the page right now, if you had to write the lyrics of your own exit based on how you're living, how would it sound?
That's a big question.
Would it end with a fear of the dark? Or would it end with a promise to leave the light on?
That is something truly worth sitting with. It forces you to ask, what is my story actually building towards?
And who is really holding the pen?
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Meet You at the Gates. It's been a heavy, but hopefully really uplifting conversation for you.
Always a pleasure to unpack these structural masterpieces with you.
And to you listening, wherever you are right now, whether you're in a season of incredible joy or a deep season of grief, remember our motto here.
The music may stop,
But the words stay with you. We'll see you next time.